This episode of Expedition Mystery is brought to you by Mastermind, nootropic for supervillains. Whether you're trying to take over the world or cramming for evil medical school, Mastermind nootropic for supervillains is your go-to cognitive enhancer. A caffeine-free concoction of all-natural ingredients, specially formulated to boost your brains when you need it the most. Mastermind, nootropic for supervillains, from drmystery.com, link in the show notes. The disappearance of Suzanne Lyall. Suzanne Lyall, a 19-year-old University of Albany student, vanished on the night of March 2nd, 1998, and despite extensive investigations, no trace of her has ever been found. Suzanne, a sophomore computer science major, was last seen getting off a bus at Collins Circle on the uptown campus of the University of Albany around 9:20 p.m. She had just finished her shift at Babbage's, a computer software store in Crossgates Mall, where she worked part-time. Despite being seen exiting the bus, she never made it back to her dorm room in Waterbury Hall. Her boyfriend, Richard Condon, reported her missing when she failed to return calls and did not appear at their planned meetings. Suzanne's disappearance was immediately concerning to her friends and family, who described her as responsible and diligent. The University Police and New York State Police launched a massive search operation. They scoured the campus, nearby areas, and even extended their search to the broader Albany region. Despite these efforts, no significant clues were found. One crucial piece of evidence was the discovery that Suzanne's ATM card was used the following day at a convenience store located off campus. A $20 withdrawal was made, but surveillance cameras failed to capture clear images of the person using the card. Investigators also found a patch from Suzanne's jeans near the Collins Circle bus stop, but this did not lead to any breakthroughs. Several theories have been proposed over the years. One possibility is that Suzanne was abducted by someone she knew or by a stranger. Despite extensive investigations and numerous interviews, no suspect has been definitively identified. Police have not ruled out any possibilities and continue to follow leads as they emerge. Suzanne's disappearance has had a profound impact on her family and the community. Doug and Mary Lyall, Suzanne's parents, became prominent advocates for missing persons, founding the Center for Hope. This organization assists families of missing individuals and works to raise awareness about missing persons cases. Their advocacy led to the passing of several laws aimed at improving the response to missing persons cases, including Suzanne's Law, which required law enforcement to notify the National Crime Information Center when a person between the ages of 18 and 21 is reported missing. The Lyalls have tirelessly worked to keep Suzanne's case in the public eye. They organize annual events, distribute missing persons flyers, and make media appearances to remind the community and law enforcement that Suzanne is still missing. Their efforts underscore the importance of vigilance and the need for continued attention in cold cases. The New York State Police and other agencies have kept Suzanne's case open and periodically revisit old leads and new tips. Technological advancements such as improvements in DNA analysis and other forensic techniques provide hope that new evidence might come to light. In 2015, a renewed investigation was launched, which included re-interviewing witnesses and re-examining evidence with advanced techniques. Despite these efforts, no new significant developments have been reported. Suzanne's case has garnered significant media attention over the years. It has been featured on television shows such as America's Most Wanted and in various news outlets. The persistent coverage helps keep Suzanne's story alive and serves as a reminder of the many missing persons whose cases remain unsolved. The disappearance of Suzanne Lyall remains an enduring mystery that continues to haunt her family, friends, and the broader community. As long as Suzanne remains missing, the hope for answers and closure for her family and loved ones endures. The disappearance of Gilbert Wynter. Gilbert Wynter vanished on March 9, 1998, leaving behind a trail of speculation, theories, and unanswered questions. Gilbert Wynter transitioned from a jeweler to a feared enforcer for the Addams family, one of the most powerful crime organizations in London. His criminal activities came to the forefront in 1994 when he was implicated in the brutal murder of drug dealer Claude Mosley. Wynter, alongside future crime boss Ray Barton, allegedly used a samurai sword to kill Mosley as punishment for stealing profits from a drug operation. Despite going on trial, the case against Wynter collapsed when key witnesses refused to testify, with one preferring jail for contempt over giving evidence. On the morning of March 9, 1998, Wynter left his home, driving his girlfriend's Nissan Micra. He later contacted her by phone, but did not reveal his location. That call was the last known contact anyone had with him. The car was discovered abandoned in June, and his bank account, credit cards, and mobile phone remained untouched. Wynter was allegedly involved in a cannabis deal where 800,000 British pounds went missing. One theory posits that he double-crossed the Addams family, leading to his murder in retaliation. There are unconfirmed reports suggesting that Wynter's body might be buried in the foundations of the O2 Arena. Alternatively, Wynter might have stolen the money and fled to the Caribbean, living in hiding ever since. This theory, while less violent, suggests a meticulously planned escape from the criminal underworld. The mystery surrounding Wynter's disappearance is compounded by the murder of Saul Nahom, a financial advisor to the Addams family, who was gunned down outside his home on December 5, 1998. Initial police theories dismissed the idea that Nahom was killed by the Addams family to prevent him from becoming an informant. However, Nahom's close association with Wynter and involvement in the same cannabis deal has led to speculation that their fates are intertwined. In 2011, police re-examined the evidence and questioned crime boss Terry Adams and 20 other gang members about Wynter's disappearance and Nahom's murder, but no significant progress was made. Some theories suggest that Andrew Baker, another former Addams family enforcer and drug baron, might be responsible for both Wynter's disappearance and Nahom's murder. Despite the passage of over 2 decades, the case remains open. Advances in forensic technology and persistent investigation efforts keep the hope alive that new evidence might eventually surface. Wynter's disappearance continues to be a subject of fascination and speculation within both law enforcement circles and the public. The disappearance of Gilbert Wynter is a chilling reminder of the dark underbelly of organized crime and the complexities involved in solving such cases. The intertwining theories of murder and escape, coupled with the subsequent murder of Saul Nahom, paint a grim picture of the dangers and betrayals inherent in the world of crime syndicates. The disappearance of Dierdre Jacob. The mysterious disappearance of Dierdre Jacob, a 19-year-old student from Newbridge, County Kildare, Ireland, remains one of the most baffling unsolved cases in the country. Dierdre vanished without a trace on July 28, 1998. Dierdre was a bright and ambitious young woman, known for her kind and gentle nature. She was the eldest of 3 daughters, cherished deeply by her parents, Michael and Bernadette Jacob. Dierdre was studying to become a teacher at St. Mary's University in Twickenham, London, and was home for the summer holidays when she disappeared. On July 28, 1998, Dierdre spent the morning in Newbridge running errands and visiting the bank. She was last seen around 3 p.m., walking toward her home on Barrettstown Road after visiting her grandmother. Witnesses saw her close to the house, but she never made it inside. Despite extensive searches and investigations, no trace of Dierdre has been found since she was last seen near her home. The investigation into Dierdre's disappearance has been extensive and multifaceted. Initially treated as a missing person case, it was reclassified as a murder investigation in 2018, 2 decades after her disappearance. Over the years, numerous leads have been pursued, but none have yielded conclusive results. One significant lead emerged in 2017 when convicted murderer Larry Murphy became a person of interest. Murphy, who was released from prison in 2010, had been convicted of a violent attack on a woman in 2000, raising suspicions about his involvement in Dierdre's case. However, no concrete evidence has linked Murphy to Dierdre's disappearance, and he has not been charged. Another theory speculates that Dierdre may have been abducted by someone familiar with the area, possibly a person with a history of criminal behavior. Despite these theories, the lack of physical evidence has hindered the progress of the investigation. Dierdre's parents have been vocal advocates for their daughter, tirelessly campaigning for information and keeping her memory alive. They have worked closely with law enforcement and the media, urging anyone with information to come forward. The community of Newbridge has also rallied around the Jacob family, demonstrating solidarity and support. Annual vigils and events are held to honor Dierdre and to maintain public awareness of her case. Dierdre's case has garnered significant media attention over the years, both in Ireland and internationally. Documentaries, news reports, and public appeals have kept her story in the public eye. The media coverage has been crucial in generating leads and maintaining pressure on the investigation. In 2018, the Garda launched a renewed public appeal for information, offering a substantial reward for any information leading to the resolution of the case. This renewed effort underscores the continued commitment to finding Dierdre and bringing those responsible to justice. Despite the passage of time, the investigation into Dierdre Jacob's disappearance remains active. The Jacob family remains hopeful that answers will be found. Their resilience and dedication to finding Dierdre serve as a testament to their enduring love and determination. As the years pass, the hope for resolution remains undiminished, fueled by the unwavering commitment to finding Dierdre and uncovering the truth of what happened on that summer day in 1998. The disappearance of Joan Lawrence. The disappearance of Joan Lawrence, a 77-year-old woman from Ontario, Canada, remains a disturbing and unresolved mystery. Known as the Cat Lady due to her affection for stray cats, Joan vanished in 1998, leaving behind unanswered questions, troubling suspicions, and a trail of possible criminal activity. Joan Lawrence lived a quiet, solitary life in Ontario, moving between small rural towns, a former poet and journalist. She was a deeply private person who had experienced hardship and struggled with poverty in her later years. At the time of her disappearance, Joan lived in a rented trailer on a property owned by the Lyall family, who provided low-cost accommodations for elderly individuals. The family ran multiple properties in the region, offering housing to vulnerable seniors, which made them central to the investigation that followed Joan's disappearance. In November 1998, Joan suddenly went missing from her trailer home in Huntsville, Ontario. Her disappearance wasn't reported for several weeks, and by the time authorities were informed, valuable time had been lost in searching for her. Her few personal belongings, including her beloved cats, were left behind, raising alarm bells. The circumstances of her sudden disappearance, combined with the unusual delay in reporting her missing, led investigators to suspect foul play. When police began their investigation, they discovered that Joan was not the only elderly tenant missing from the Lyall family properties. 3 other elderly individuals, who had lived in various Lyall-owned residences, had also mysteriously disappeared around the same time. The discovery of these multiple disappearances suggested a possible pattern of neglect, abuse, or worse. The investigation into Joan Lawrence's disappearance uncovered troubling details about the conditions in which she and other tenants were living. The Lyall family's accommodations were substandard, lacking proper sanitation and heating, with some trailers described as unfit for habitation. There were concerns that the elderly tenants were being exploited financially. Joan had openly complained about the poor living conditions and had spoken of conflicts with her landlords. As police dug deeper, they found that the disappearances were not isolated incidents. They discovered that social assistance checks continued to be cashed even after the missing tenants, including Joan, had disappeared. These suspicious financial transactions raised the question of whether the elderly tenants had been harmed to cover up financial fraud. Several theories have been proposed regarding Joan Lawrence's fate. One prevailing theory suggests that Joan and the other missing seniors may have been victims of financial exploitation, with their deaths covered up to avoid discovery. The continued cashing of their government checks lends credence to this idea. Another theory is that the tenants were neglected, leading to their deaths, and their bodies were disposed of to avoid accountability. Law enforcement has continued to investigate the case over the years, but with limited evidence, the trail has grown cold. The remote location of these properties and lack of concrete forensic evidence have hampered the investigation. Despite the passage of time, the mystery of Joan Lawrence's disappearance has not been forgotten. The media, advocacy groups for the elderly, and concerned citizens continue to push for justice for Joan and the other missing seniors. They argue that vulnerable individuals like Joan should not be allowed to fall through the cracks, and their disappearances demand answers. The disappearance of Joan Lawrence serves as a grim reminder of the vulnerabilities faced by elderly individuals, particularly those living in precarious conditions. Her story has highlighted the need for better oversight of private senior accommodations and more stringent regulations to protect the elderly from exploitation and neglect. While the investigation into Joan's disappearance remains active, the lack of conclusive evidence has made it difficult for authorities to bring those responsible to justice. Joan's family and the families of the other missing tenants continue to hope that new information will eventually surface, providing the closure they desperately seek. Joan Lawrence's case is one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in Canadian history, a haunting tale of exploitation, neglect, and possible murder. As the years pass, the unanswered questions about what happened to her and the other missing seniors remains, casting a long shadow over the lawn properties and the tragic lives of those who once called them home. The quest for justice for Joan Lawrence continues, and investigators and advocates work to bring light to the darkness surrounding her disappearance. Some people disappear without a trace, as if the hand of some eldritch thing reached out from the shadows and took them. Some, no doubt, met a terrible end at the hands of their fellow man. Others still came by their fate by their own hand. Whatever the case, if you have any knowledge of the fate of any of the aforementioned cases, reach out to the relevant authorities so the families of the missing might find some closure. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this narration. Expedition Mystery, signing off.